Hi, I'm Peter J. Ray. Welcome to Adventures in History. Today's topic is Dearest Mother and Dad. Love, Ruth, John, Mark, Pamela, Patricia, and Peter. 1967, Part 148. This first letter is actually from my father, John S. Ray. Meyer, Stevens, and Ray, attorneys at law. 2121 The Superior Building, Cleveland, Ohio. January 4th, 1967. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Smallshaw, we do hope you all had an enjoyable holiday. We certainly did here. Thank you very much for the Christmas gifts. It was a real pleasure to see your pictures of the Bahamas and also the pictures from your vacation trip. This year we are planning to visit a small key about 150 miles south of Hopetown. Our plans are to leave March 18th and return April 16th. Take care of yourselves. Love, John. 20689 Beechcliff Boulevard, Rocky River, Ohio, January 4th, 1967. Dear Mother and Dad, what a lovely Christmas we had, and how we all hated to see the season end. It began with Pamela's confirmation. The bishop from Canada came for it, and John's folks, Lisa and Mrs. Vogler, and we all went out to dinner afterwards. We had the tree up. Your parcels all arrived fine Friday the 23rd, and Dick and Joan and their family and John's mother and dad all came at 4:30 p.m. Saturday the 24th. And I had a roast stuffed turkey, and we had a candlelight dinner. We had a spotlight on Aunt Elsie's Last Supper. We have it beautifully framed, almost $100. Santa Claus came, and we had all our gifts. Thank you for the lovely nightie. After they left, we went to the 11 o'clock p.m. lovely service and packed. At 2:30 a.m. I'd filled the stockings, and Peter got up at 4 o'clock a.m. Mrs. Vogler came in the morning on Christmas, and we went to Sandusky at 10:30 a.m. We took everyone out to a lovely buffet dinner, and then later, John's mother had another turkey. We'd tried to spare her the bother. We also visited Mark's godmother, Aunt Helen, and Uncle Fred on the Chaussee. Patty said the nicest thing about Christmas was sitting beside Uncle Fred. Then we all stopped at Carol's on the way home. We all decided this was the best Christmas season ever. We went to a party in Bay Village 2 weeks before Christmas, one next door the night before Christmas Eve, and one down the street the week before. One also on Beechcliff Boulevard 2 days after. And Char had a lovely formal dinner for 30 on the 30th. Happy anniversaries. Theirs is the 28th. And as Shirley Collard's New Year's Eve also went to a formal and to the vestry party at the rectory next Saturday. Yesterday was the PTA board meeting at 9:30 a.m. and next Tuesday our big PTA buffet dinner. John's great-aunt Nell is blind with a broken hip and now elbow. We had a wire that she's on the critical list, so John may fly out. He has an important case in court, too. Happy New Year! Pam's communion breakfast is 8 o'clock a.m. Sunday, and Mark is the acolyte. Love, Ruth. 20689 Beechcliff Boulevard, Rocky River, Ohio, January 6, 1967. Dear Mother, thank you again for your parcel that arrived the day before. The children are always especially excited when something arrives by mail, and I remember we always were too. Bud and Doris's arrived the same time, so we opened them that night and put the wrapped gifts around the Christmas tree. We were particularly pleased that the plate for Patty was okay. We always hold our breaths. It is lovely, and we are on our way to a lovely set of dessert plates. Did I ever tell you that Joan's mother painted a complete set of china that Joan now has? What a tedious undertaking. Boring because they are matched. We also enjoy all the pictures. We were sorry about Brian. They usually have something like that around Christmas, don't they? I'm having my hair done, and the manicurist receptionist here is away. Her husband died only age 56. Had an appendicitis, but they were treating for ulcers. It burst and peritonitis set in. So I imagine Bud and Doris were quite concerned. Mark has given us a couple of scares. Once Mr. Diamond insisted and we went to the hospital. He drove, insisted he wouldn't be responsible if we didn't go. John was away at golf. At noon, John is flying to California. They called last night and Great Aunt Nell died. She's been in a coma and on intravenous feeding since November. Blind, broken hip, and fractured elbow. John is the heir, but with expenses. Aunt Chella is in a nursing home, not always rational. Unfortunately, he has a big case in court Monday, so has to be back, so a quick trip to California and back in 2 days. Pamela's first communion and breakfast is Sunday at 8 o'clock a.m., and she's disappointed that John won't be there. I meant to tell you that I wore the lovely nightie you sent last year when I was in Cincinnati. John said, "Bud is a true Canadian." He sent us maple syrup products. The peak freens disappeared even faster than usual. God bless. Love, Ruth. 20689 Beechcliff Boulevard, Rocky River, Ohio, January 26, 1967. Dear Mother, we certainly missed John when he went to California, but he got back for his case and also ran a big PTA meeting for me. Almost 200 people there, a dinner. We had the husbands run the meeting. He was his usual terrific self, and I was so grateful. It was a great success. We've had wonderful weather this week. I saw where the warmest you had was 21 degrees below zero and down to 38 degrees below, so we expected cold weather. Mark went camping last weekend in tents. I was so worried, but it got warm and muddy and they were so disgusted. Tuesday was up to 68 degrees, several days in the 60s. I enjoy it, but the skaters and skiers don't. Our busy schedule continues. I had 3 meetings Tuesday and report card committee today and Pam's Girl Scouts mothers tonight. Peter gave me a caramel and I pulled out a huge gold inlay, so was also at the dentist earlier. This week they asked me to be an officer in the PTA Council and also to be president of the junior high PTA for next year, but I'm learning to say no again. Aunt Helen Lacey has decided to go to the Bahamas with us, but John can't get plane reservations for her now. Everything has been filled for months. We are quite excited. We will be the only ones on this 100-acre island except for the caretaker and cook, who live in their own little house. John's great-aunts wanted him to have their estate, but it looks as though the state of California will take it all for their care. We have the family Bible records that date back to the Civil War. There were 2 other John Rays way back. Most interesting. John's earnings went over $32,000, but $7,000 in taxes, as much as I earned in my first 5 years of teaching just for taxes. He charges $300 a day for trial work. Pamela had her first communion. I think she was disappointed her godparents didn't remember her confirmation. I didn't get her a prayer book either. Mark's godmother, Aunt Helen Zook, gave him one. I hope you are all well. Love, Ruth. 20689 Beechcliff Boulevard, Rocky River, Ohio, February 7th, 1967. Dear Mother, I was glad to get your letter. Yes, we are very excited about our trip. Helen Lacey has finally decided to go, but John can't get reservations for her now. Things are really booked ahead, especially the airlines to Florida. Of course, there's so much to do. Groceries for 7 people for a month. The cook comes in each morning and fixes breakfast and lunch and comes back about 4:30 to fix dinner, and she bakes bread. However, I have to plan all the supplies and meals that she can cook. Lots to take, and no little grocery store to run to. Peter got a perfect report card. His teacher had asked what a burden was, and Peter told her his report card was his burden. She told She told him it needn't be, and he's so relieved that now his report card is no longer his burden. Patty was also perfect, all A's and pluses. Pamela's 5 A's and 3 B's, and Mark also, except history. He went from an A to a C+, so we'll have a conference with his history teacher. It was because he was nervous for an oral report. Mark carried the cross and helped with Communion Sunday. Pamela went babysitting twice last weekend, had a teenager overnight also. Today they're sledding in the park, marvelous day for it. 2 meetings today, a luncheon tomorrow. We have a very happy time and life so lucky. Love, Ruth. P.S. I'm always saying how precious Peter is and what a gift and how lucky we are. Pam wasn't feeling well and he was so solicitous. Pam said, I know what you mean about Peter. He is special. He's also a real Canadian. Just loves the snow and out for hours. Patty went to the orthodontist. He says she's developing a jutting jaw that she's inherited somewhere, so we'll have to have braces to correct her bite. I will return your pictures. They're very good. Love, Ruth. 20689 Beechcliff Boulevard, Rocky River, Ohio, February 16th, 1967. Dear folks, things seem to keep popping along. John's folks and Aunt Helen Lacey are coming to dinner Sunday. We still can't get air reservations for her down. She can only stay 2 weeks anyway. I went to the doctor today and had a good report. I have a Girl Scout Mothers meeting tomorrow, Room Mothers meeting yesterday, to the Whiteses for dinner the other night, and John takes the children on a camp-out Friday night. Mark played his violin before the school assembly and is in competition on Saturday. He was acolyte at church Wednesday night for the Lenten service. I was at school to fix hot chocolate for the school guards at 8:30 a.m. a couple of cold mornings, and also helped with Peter's Valentine party at school. Peter had his tube taken out of his ear, but goes back Saturday for a check. John and I seem to keep both cars going with all their activities. We all went sledding Sunday, John and I on one sled. The hills at the park are like a roller coaster. The doctor says today I'm nowhere near the change of life, not to look for it until I'm in my 50s. Take care. Love, Ruth. Now the next letters are the beginning of Small Shaw, or were originally published in Small Shaw Family Memories Collection number 67, or SFMC 67, published on July 4th, 2001. 20689 Beechcliff Boulevard, Rocky River, Ohio, March 3rd, 1967. Dear Mother, it was good to get your letter, but I'm very sorry to hear about your back. I hope it's nothing serious. It's that time of year, I expect also. John asked how I felt the other day, and I said despondent. He said if I felt despondent, I was crazy, and it's true. I guess it's called anxious fear, and true Christians should have enough faith not to have it. I guess it's the thought of all I have to do before we leave for the Bahamas and when we get back. Chick Strawbridge next door called yesterday and said she never saw anything like it. Every time she opened the newspaper, there was something about me or our Kensington PTA. She said she was very impressed, and she said now everything's getting so busy and you're going away for a month. Of course, I don't know how John does it. Both Kent Myers and Dick Stevens are in Puerto Rico and won't get back till the weekend we leave, so won't see each other for almost 2 months. The younger partner, Joe Schneider, said, "What will we do when you're gone?" Dave Myers just got back from the Bahamas. Another lawyer has asked to join them, and they'll have to hire 2 more lawyers to help with his work if he does, and expand the offices. I just had my hair cut, and I'm under the dryer. Last night, John took Patty to the Ice Capades. Mark won tickets on his newspaper route, but has a cold. And I went to the Flower and Home Show. We had a safety assembly meeting at school, and I had a chairman and committee plan the lunch and fix it for the safety patrol students and teachers. This afternoon I have a meeting at our house to plan the April luncheon, the one you attended, the week after we return. I have been asked to be on the high school PTA as council representative, and that installation luncheon is at the new Westwood Country Club, rebuilt. It burned down last year, the day after we get back from the Bahamas. Chick Strawbridge will be president of the high school PTA. We may have our Kensington PTA luncheon there also. I guess I mentioned they asked me to be president of the junior high PTA and also officer in the council. This could become a career. We'll have children in all three schools next year. Tomorrow night is the dance for the Women's Board of the Nature Center. The Whiteses and Garretts are going with us and another couple on Beechcliff. Next week we're having 14 to 16 folks for dinner Saturday and before we leave. We've ordered the groceries, sent a list, and we'll have them put on the plane in Nassau, so I won't have to take quite as much. I ordered a roast, steaks, turkey, chicken, 30 pounds of flour for bread, so we'll see how that works. Expensive though, I imagine, knowing Nassau. We have Helen Lacey's reservations for going down and back, except for the part from the island to Nassau. She can't stay the month and doesn't feel she can afford to charter the plane for herself, about $100, and we can't find any boats on a regular schedule. I don't think she's that eager about going anyway. Peter had his final okay and ear test fine at the doctor. I said, "Peter, that calls for a celebration." He looked at me quizzically and said, "You mean we're going to have a cake with an ear on it?" He played down at the park for 3 hours the other day, quite cold. John and I had a conference with Mark's history teacher, and he said Mark was probably the most capable and had the most ability of any student he's had. John's mother sent his great-great-great-grandfather's Civil War diary. He'd helped prepare maps for General Ulysses S. Grant. Peter and Patty go to birthday parties. Mark and Pam to the Audubon Society program. Mark got a 1 and a 2 in his violin competition, duet. Mark and Pam got wonderful progress reports. Love, Ruth. 20689 Beechcliff Boulevard, Rocky River, Ohio, March 7th, 1967. Dear Mother, I hope John's letter inviting you to join us in the Bahamas wasn't too late for you to make plans. As you know, we'd invited John's folks and then Helen Lacey, for I felt we ought to invite some of his family. I did wish, though, that Helen had let us know sooner. Of course, to us it seems like such a wonderful opportunity, and if you can't get a direct flight down, we're holding Helen's reservations and you might be able to use hers. However, Air Canada is less expensive, I believe. We've had a busy time, a dance at Avon Oaks Country Club, and I had a board meeting this morning. It will be good to get away from things for a while. However, we're having 14 folks in for dinner Saturday, and Mrs. Friedrich can't come this week. I won't need to pack as much clothing or food this year, as I don't expect we'll be going anywhere. The children would like you to come too. I'm sure the sunshine will do us all good this time of year. We promise we won't make you go snorkeling this year. John bought a new underwater movie camera and projector today. You also won't have to do any cooking. We hope you can come and maybe make reservations back via Cleveland for a week. The forsythia should be out then, although I have it out all around the house now, indoors. Peter was cute today. He brought me my prayer book and asked if it was my prayer book. Then he suggested we take it to the Bahamas so we could have church down there for Sunday. When I told John about it, Peter then took up the Bible and put it on the bed to be packed. This house in the Bahamas also has a grand piano. It is on Cistern Key, in the Exumas, which is 60 miles south of Nassau. Hope to see you at the airport in Nassau. Love, John, Ruth, Mark, Pamela, Patty, and Peter. 20689 Beechcliff Boulevard, Rocky River, Ohio, March 9th, 1967. Dear Mother, we received your letter this morning about your planned trip to England. That certainly is a good price. What does it include? Ours was about $2,000, however, it was worth it. As to what to take, it depends so much upon the group you are with and what you plan to be doing. In New Zealand, we needed so much more formal clothes being received by the Governor General and the formal dances. But in Europe, with Anne and Wayne Duff and driving, I just wore suits, and we dressed for dinner. And I took my stole, and you could have it if you thought it was good enough. I also wore my raincoat and my cashmere coat. I imagine if you are planning this, you won't be able to come to the Bahamas, but if you do and then can get in on the trip to England, I could give you $100 towards it. It would be a shame to miss both. I didn't realize Dad could take that much time off, but then one can usually do what you really want to. I thought Bud and Doris were planning a trip to Europe. We would like to take the children to Portugal some year and rent a house. We understand the water is lovely there also. Marge and Harold Fralick are in England now, too. I had a non-meeting day today, so I shined the chandelier, cleaned the cupboard and refrigerator, and John has painted the breakfast set. I also changed the linens. Good luck with your plans. Love, Ruth. P.S. Chick Strawbridge's dad died Sunday. It would have been her brother's 29th birthday. He died last fall. Hart, R. 20689 Beechcliff Boulevard, Rocky River, Ohio, March 17, 1967. Dear Mother, D-Day is coming and still lots to do. I'm in getting my hair cut this morning. Pamela had hers cut Tuesday, Grecian boy cut, and Patty's cut Wednesday, and Mark and John today, and Peter tonight. We leave for the airport at 7:30 a.m., so have to be ready. Sorry you can't make the trip and hope the one to England is all you expect. Too bad Nuna won't be there. Who are you planning to visit? I'd thought it would be nice for you to bring Janet down to the island, but thought Bud and Doris wouldn't agree. Helen didn't think she could afford the trip. She works for Oberlin College and is a house mother, is in charge of the arts and crafts for the college. She only has a week's holiday and would only ask for one extra week. Since she couldn't stay the whole month, she would have to charter her own plane to leave the island, which is $100 extra. John is chartering one in and one out for us. We are taking David Garrett with us. He is 5 and a real live wire. John is his godfather. You know Marilyn Garrett has multiple sclerosis and is much worse, can hardly walk. Her left leg is gone. We had a dinner party for 16 folks Saturday night, and I had friends she knows. The Whiteses, Summers, McQuilkins, Browns, Gregorys. You've met them all and been to the Kinseys' home. It was a really lovely party. Mary, a premium, had sent me a beautiful bouquet from Scarsdale, Arizona, of yellow glads, mums, daffodils, daisies, and some white carnations. My forsythia was out, so I made arrangements all over along with some pussy willows. John painted our breakfast set a pretty shade of avocado. I got a wrought iron bench to go with it and had avocado candles and napkins. We served from the buffet: Jamaican shrimp and rice, turkey slices, pineapple souffle, lemon mustard whip, a jello salad I made up, fresh pineapple and strawberries, and creme de menthe sundaes, rum drinks with tang and hors d'oeuvres first. 6 sat in the dining room, 6 in the kitchen, and 4 at the table in the living room. Everyone said how pretty the breakfast area is. Then we watched our Bahama movies and had liqueurs downstairs. Don McQuilkin told John what a high-powered group we had. Almost all the fellows are presidents of their companies. George Gregory is president of Gregory Industries. John White's president of his dynamite firm. Don McQuilkin has his own accounting firm. Don Brown is president of Don Products. He's leaving on a trip around the world, New Zealand and Africa, and Shirley is meeting him in South America. They have that glass family room you saw, and we went for New Year's last year. Dick Garrett is president of his company, the biggest engineering in Cleveland. And Bruce Kinsey is the son of Alfred Kinsey, who wrote the Kinsey Report, and a very nice group too. I'm still way behind on entertaining, but we We will have new Bahama movies to show and have another one in May when the Forsythia is out in Dogwood. Maybe use the porch too. The Schreiers have been in Nassau this week, also Princess Margaret. The Bakers left yesterday for Hopetown, and Nan and George Gregory left this morning. Her folks and their friends and her sister's family are all going, sir, so their family will have a reunion. They hope to charter a boat or plane and visit us also. The Garretts also may charter a plane and visit us for the last week. I offered to take Marilyn with us, but Dick thought it too great a responsibility. It's friends of Marilyn that own the island. David is all packed and ready to go with us. I have to go to a luncheon at Ann Westover's this afternoon and hope to take Marilyn some Forsythia. I tried to take her to communion Wednesday morning, and the minister would bring the communion to the front row for her to take, but Dick didn't think she should try it. So maybe Father Lynch will take it to her home. She was crying in church Sunday. I don't know if I'll have time to mail dresses for Janet. I thought you could take them back in your box. I've never heard from Doris, so I've started giving things away here and to the Bahamas. I had the needlepoint of the little girls you'd made framed professionally, and it looks so nice, with Pamela's new cherry canopy bed set and desk, and she's also using the dresser set you crocheted. It also looks well with it, and she likes them. We also used the linen tablecloth for the first time that you sent, when John's folks and Helen came. It fits perfectly. John's mother admired it so much. It fits perfectly on the table with one leaf. It is lovely. They have no iron tablecloths and plastic with flannel back, so we'll try to get Doris one if you know which she'd prefer. The plastic ones have lace inserts around the border. There are not many as wide as you said. What is the size again? We had Elsie's needlework of the Last Supper framed beautifully before Christmas and have a spotlight on it. It was really the center of attention, and I would like to thank her in some way. I would have liked to have invited her to the Bahamas, but don't think she'd enjoy it. I still hope she can visit us in Cleveland, though. We had our last PTA meeting Tuesday, and John ran it for me very well. Now all I have is the luncheon at the Westwood Country Club and a board luncheon at the Irish's next to Nan Gregory's house and a few other little items. Shirley Collard said what a letdown I'll have next year after these 2 busy years. I bought 10 boxes, some of crayons, and Nan Gregory took them and some books down to the school in Hopetown for me. I still have lots more books and hope to make that my next project to get them down. We're off. Just stopped in Atlanta, Nassau this afternoon, and the beautiful blue Bahamian waters and warm air. Are we excited? David Garrett is with us. Love, Ruth. Well, that concludes today's presentation. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. God bless you. Take care, and I'll see you next time.